All right, I think I'm on. I think I'm live from Spokane, Washington, getting ready for the D1 championships here. I'm gonna check my microphone real quick. Yeah, looks like we're in good shape. Let's see, pretty sure everyone can hear me. So, Coach Reslow here, ResV Systems. Hope you guys are having a good start to the weekend. Man, I heard we had a barn burner. Uh, well, I kind of called it. I had Lincoln winning that match. Thought we'd go five, but I heard it was just a pretty cool match, and Lincoln came out on top, which was pretty neat. Really excited for excited for everyone to participate. Certainly, Cranston West was a good team and did a lot of cool stuff. But it just seemed that Lincoln was on the march, man. That was a train that wasn't going to be stopped. So very, very cool stuff. Sorry to have missed it. Actually had a really tough travel day. Um, traveling from Providence to Chicago to Washington, and we got delayed in Chicago for 10 hours, which was just brutal. But got to do some sightseeing, got to see Chicago, city of. It was pretty neat. So I hope everyone's well. We're getting ready for the D1 championship. Hoping to get some people on, see if Big Jack can make it. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. This is that type of morning. Here it's 8, and we were up pretty late last night. So you're gonna get all the all the things behind the scenes, coffee and sneezing. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna push this down. I go over here. And what we're gonna do is make sure that it's muted. I'm still figuring all this stuff out. Gotta get to the studio. There we go. Let's see. I know the internet here is not the best, but we'll see what we can do. Got 18 minutes to the kickoff here. Oh man, not getting much sleep hurts the cause. I hope everyone was able to check out the article I wrote before it did technically come out before the D2 championships yesterday. It was let's see here as I try to make sure I can find everything. But talked about a couple things. I mean, my predictions for the finals, which if you've been following at home, my predictions haven't been the best, especially in the D1 world here. But let's see if I can get this going here. Champion. Ooh, can't spell. So let's see. Just go right to that. So yeah, back to my thoughts. So that article that came out was pretty that's what I'm looking for. Now I'm cooking. All right, now we got it all set up. Took a while. Got our act together here. It's going well in terms of all that stuff. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to see the article that I put in. Right before the D2 finals started, I wrote an article called "For All the Marbles," and it was really based on the idea of we do a little bit of predictions, we kind of figure all that stuff out, see where I was going to go with all that stuff, and again, the predictions are always hard to figure because they can go either way. So I play the game as if I could call what was going to happen in every match, you know, wouldn't be fun. So the D1 semifinals, missed on both. I had NK beating Charo, and Charo came out on top there in a really stunning fashion. I don't think anyone thought really that NK was going to fall there, but Matt Tiernan had a great night. So an unfortunate injury late to Quinlan Fay, and it was like, okay, something's going to happen here. So, and then LaSalle Mount St. Charles, didn't get a chance to watch that match, but it was apparently one-sided. Apparently the Rams took control and did what they did. And so we got ourselves Charo, LaSalle, if I can speak right, final. In the D3 world, I think I was pretty right on there. I had Johnston go into the final, and I figured Tolman would be there as well. I think Johnston's, right now, this whole season they've been a juggernaut. They're just marching through. So, it's really going to come down to, can Tolman provide some resistance, make them uncomfortable, and perhaps steal it. I mean, who knows? But that'll be an interesting match as well. So the other part of the article was, the idea of what are you looking for? What are you chasing? And I talked personally about what I'm chasing. You're in a situation where, I was a college coach, I was a college player. I've seen a lot of games, I've played in a lot of matches, I've been involved in a lot of matches. And when I was a player, I was searching for, a way to really be involved in a community, proving myself through sport, which at the time seemed appropriate. Now it doesn't seem as much. And then from there, when I was a coach at the college level, it was about my career and chasing excellence and maybe catching it, getting some W's. But even and then it was appropriate, but my views on it have changed since then. And really, it's about the moments. What I really enjoyed was there's all types of them. I mean, like I said, they're little and small. They can be gigantic. They can be tiny. But the one what I thought was pretty big was I'm the head coach for the South County 18-1 boys team, and we were able to win a major at Mohegan Sun, which is pretty awesome. And to beat a very solid LVC team in the final the way we did, it was like a moment. I was looking around going, well, dude, we're gonna win this thing. Like, here's my goals when I took on South County was, hey, I want to compete with the big boys. And in 3 years we've beaten some of the big boys in the club world in the Northeast region. Now, past the Northeast region, there's even bigger boys out there, bigger monsters this way. But we did a nice job this year, and we were able to be runner up in a couple tournaments, win a couple tournaments, really cause people to take note of Rhode Island and Rhode Island volleyball, which I'm pretty happy with. And we're going to go to Orlando, which is pretty neat. For those that don't know, Orlando is where AAU Nationals is going to be. We're going to participate in that one. and that'll be a great time. But those are the things now, as mid-40s guy who's seen some stuff finally. When you're a player, you think you know a lot, but you haven't seen much. And then when you're a coach, especially if you're coaching in a competitive atmosphere, you're not really thinking about all the things that you're doing. You're just doing them. You have a plan. Generally you have a plan. Generally you have a system that you're trying to implement. You're trying to bring in good people to the system, but at the end of the day, you're not thinking too hard about all the things that are surrounding you and all the things that you're trying to do. But certainly once it gets to be go time, and once you're in there for a while, like I started thinking about what I was actually trying to accomplish in a more spiritual, metaphysical idea about halfway through my career. I was like, what am I really trying to accomplish besides winning volleyball games? I'm trying to accomplish, bringing in good student athletes, helping them in their careers, helping them become the men that they're going to be, supporting them in their dreams and their goals, as long as they're reasonable. But yeah, you start really thinking about what you're trying to do, what you're really trying to do. And now, not having a team to coach in the collegiate ranks and sort of doing this type of stuff, the ResV stuff and the club stuff, refereeing, helping out here, helping out there, being a journalist to the sport in Rhode Island, especially for the high school level, broadcasting. Like I continually reevaluate what I'm trying to do, and at the end of the day, it's still helping people. I mean, it really is. It's just helping people, whether it be better at the sport, whether it be mental toughness for sports and beyond, whether it be, I don't know, whether it be off the court. I mean, that's one of the things that people don't realize when you're a coach, college coach, high school coach. Your gig is straightforward for the sport itself, but a lot of times you're handling issues from off the court situations, like kids or young adults frustrated or nervous, or they have things going on in the background that they need help with, and oftentimes they go to the coach first. And some things the coach can handle. I mean, I've been relatively successful helping players that are struggling in all atmospheres. Some things are beyond your purview. If it's serious enough, you got to find the right people to talk to the kids. If there's some serious issues, the coach really can't handle it on his own. You have to understand, and that comes with being experienced. You have to understand when you got to get other people involved, real professionals in the health industry. But yeah, the goal is to help people. And then for me, it's chasing those moments. All right, so we're 7 minutes away from start time. Pretty excited about that. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here, and hopefully we can get this guy rolling. And this is the one I want to see. And again, the chat's open if you want to ask questions, you want to say hi. I'm guessing most people that would be interested in checking in and saying hi are probably at the match. Pardon me. And I'm guessing also that all the guests that I was going to have yesterday, probably going to be at the match too. So, I mean, maybe we get somebody popping in, maybe we don't. And, we'll do what we do. And for all of those that are watching, and it's great. I appreciate it, man. All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay. And the other thing too is that we're not going to do this where we're going to, you're not going to watch this through me per se. If you are going to watch online, I highly recommend you going to NFHS network and certainly purchasing the game. I'm not trying to to take their situation, because it's not the play here, but we are going to try to have it on in the background, talk about some things that's going on. I mean, the matchup here for Charaho and LaSalle, it really comes down to Matty Tiernan and Ephraim Abelim. Like, the big guy, Ephraim, he's a game changer. He can change, quite frankly, anything an opposition is doing by his blocking ability, because he blocks like a college athlete. Like, the blocking footwork has improved, and where he's finishing his block touch or his block endeavor is like playing it at the college level. Like, that's what it looks like. Dudes that are really reaching on the other side of the net, basically armpits on the top of the tape. Like, he's blocking at the college level. So you have a guy who's blocking at the college level in the high school game. That's pretty impressive. So you gotta know where he is, and you got to figure out a way to go away from him if you can. But I say that now, but that's the college thought process. Here, Charaho's going to set Matt, right? Tiernan, the surgeon, like, they're going to set him over and over again. So it's going to be straightforward, and Tiernan get through and break through. And he's had the ability to all year. I mean, he's had a spectacular year. I can't emphasize enough. The kid's a setter. He's been a setter his whole career. He's played beach, he's played grass, so he's got an arm. Like, he knows how to hit. But the idea of a setter sort of just turning into a top pin in the state is pretty wild. It's just pretty exceptional, and he's done a great job. I mean, he's been getting. You're doing a great job when remember the last time that you've only had 20 kills. Like, it's pretty wild. And that Charaho team is built solid. The middles, Christensen and Plant, they can do it. They can get it done, and they're gonna have their hands full with Ephraim and Connor Lewis, but they can play. Popolowski, sophomore setter, he's doing a decent job with hands, and really his job's pretty straightforward. We're going to try to get Tiernan the rock. Pardon me. I love Asanero as the libero. He can play. He makes a lot of nice plays. Ty Cotta's the libero for the Rams, and he's young. I mean, he's still learning, so it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be openings, but can Tiernan get past the net is going to be the one thing. Certainly the other things that matter, passing has to be good, serving has to be in. But yeah, no, it should be a great match. I think right now the money's all with LaSalle, right? Everyone thinks LaSalle is going to win, or that feels pretty strongly because of the talent of Jack Johnson, Ephraim Abelim, Nick Lisi. I mean, Ali has had a great, growing year as a setter. He's going to be real good next year. But Tiernan has just kept punching holes through stuff. He just gets the ball, goes, hits from everywhere, really smart. Has played the game probably out of all the players involved, has probably had more volleyball reps than anyone on the floor. Probably since Mason Andre had left, to go play Wentworth. So yeah, that's where we're at. Minute 20 seconds for the start. Now, what I'll do is I'll I'll stop share for a second here. And I'll see if I can convert this quickly. But you should be ready to get going. I appreciate everyone watching at home. Really do. It's awesome to see everybody. Let's see if I can convert this guy. What I'll try to do is I'll try to make sure that talking some volleyball strategy throughout, what I would do, how I would see it, that type of thing. All right, let's see what we got here. The conversion. It's always the transition parts that are difficult, right? Let's see here. Can I get this on? This one. And again, I don't know if the internet is strong enough here where we're at for me to have both going, but we're going to give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, I'll pack up shop. Uh-oh. Oh boy, that's kind of weird. Just got a message on the screen that says this event has been delayed. I don't know if I like that. See if we can figure that out. Maybe a nice refresh will help us. Might be delayed on NFHS and actually doing fine starting right at noon because, well, most certainly that's what's happening because you want to have sort of a 5-minute break, a 5-minute buffer zone. But we'll see. And they might have some technical difficulties as well, which happens all the time. All the time. All right, so got a couple Charahoe fans on viewing right now, which is great. Awesome, guys. I think Charahoe's got a good shot. Really do. I mean, I was worried initially when the season started that Tiernan would be taking too many swings, the shoulder would be bothering him. And he talked to me a couple times that my shoulder was fine. Give it a break, Rez. But I would be more worried if the team hadn't come together and improved. Like at the very beginning, Christensen and Plant were decent. I mean, they weren't bad players, but they were. You could see there was some growing to be done, and they've made it. They've made that situation solid now. Like their middles are now, really good. They're tough. They're not going to be easy to stop or get through. So. And one of the things that they did a real nice job with at North Kingstown is any overpass. Those guys were over, big swings, finishing shots, and doing a lot of good stuff. So, yeah, the team has grown. And that's what you need. You have a guy in Tiernan who's played a lot and has a lot of volleyball experience. You need the other pieces of the puzzle to grow with him and become this side that's formidable, and that's what they did. Azanero was the next player that had some success in his career early. He was ResV All-Star last year. He is this year as well, and that helps because that gives you a libero that cleans up the back end, passes well, digs strong shots when the block isn't there. So those are the two guys going in. Everyone was like, all right, they're going to be good with those two, but what about the rest of the crew? And the trick was if Tierney was going to swing, who's setting, who's feeding him the ball, and that was Poplaski's job, and kid's done a nice job. It's really done some good work there. Let's see. Oh, I still got a delayed thing going on here. Might need to reach out to some of my contacts and see what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if there's places to attack for both teams. I mean, I think both teams don't do they have players on the right side that are still in development. So, I mean, I think that both teams have that situation where the right side is a little underdeveloped, not ready for prime time yet. And they're doing a great job. Like those particular players are stepping in, working hard, like they're doing what they know how to do. And this becomes the problem with all coaches, right? Like, you know that the player that you have there or the potential you're going to have there, they're going to be good, but they're just not there yet. And in a skill for volleyball, sport like volleyball, it takes time. Like you need those reps. You need to see all the things that are happening. And these guys are just young. They're just young, and they're put in a position. Hey, we need to win a state championship with you. And in volleyball, it's going to come down to strategy and where you think you can score, and it's probably going to be going through those right side guys. So both are going to be tested. We'll see who has the better night. Oh, here we go. It looks like we might have this going. Again, we'll see if my internet can hold. I was hoping for better. Yeah. We got the spinning wheel. That's a start. So we spent 10 hours in Chicago, got myself a Bears hat, and now it's my hat. And of course, we were on the plane and we sat next to a guy who knew a lot about the Chicago Bears. And you know the Bears? I'm like, not much. I'm gonna have to learn if I want to wear the hat. It's a rule. If you're gonna wear the hat, you better know what you're talking about. If you're gonna wear the shirt, you better know what it says in the front or the back. Yeah, let me see. I'll stop sharing again and see if I can figure it out. We got the circle, but we don't got the game. Let's try a refresh. Need to see the game. Need to know what's going on. Give me the game. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Yeah, man, we're gonna get this going if we can just get the game on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about LaSalle again. Like, so with LaSalle, lots of big people up front, like they block real well. They're the best blocking team in the state. So, and not only are they the best blocking team in the state, but they're also a team that can score at the pins. Jack Johnson's had a great year. Nick Lisi's had a solid year. I think Lisi gets a little overshadowed by Johnson, and he shouldn't. Lisi's a real good volleyball player. Like he is he's not going to beat you like Jack, in the sense where Jack's 6'6", and he's going to be Jack gets off the ground pretty well and he thumps to the floor. Like Nikki is going to do a lot of chopping off blocks, high hands expand, and he's really good at it. I mean, I think one of the reasons he's not had as monster of a year as Johnson is because some of the blocking in the league isn't great. And if you're a guy that's built on chopping and high hands and tool and blocks, and there's no block to tool, it makes things a little different, and you have to sort of figure out how you're gonna handle it. But Nikki, in my opinion, is for the last 2 years has been the glue of the the LaSalle team. Like he's a real good player. Jack's got a hammer, and he can really score at will at times. Ephraim's the monster in the middle, and I think I think it revolves around Ephraim. If Ephraim's playing well, the whole league's in trouble. If he's struggling, then there's an opening to get it done. I think Ali's come a long way. Like 6'5" setter, that's what you're looking for. And he initially, the first time I saw him, I was like, all right, like the ball placement isn't great, and his footwork needs to improve. And by the way, these are things that 90% of high school students need to work on for setting, right? Footwork needs to improve, ball placement needs to be better. Those are standard. But as I watched him throughout the year, and then certainly right before the end here, all that stuff had improved quite a bit. So the young man's put in work. He's doing a nice job, and his ceiling's gonna be real high. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. So anyway, that team, that LaSalle team, they're gonna block. And what's worse is they know exactly where it's coming from. Like they know it's coming to get Tiernan, so they can line up and just. I would triple block Matty wherever he is, send 3, because changes the trajectory a little bit. But and I wouldn't serve. I would freeze Matt out. I wouldn't serve him. I wouldn't go near him. Give him the cold shoulder if you can. All right, but still having trouble getting in here. So don't know what's going on, which is not helpful. Yeah, still got the spinning wheel. Yeah, it's 9 a.m. here. Well, riveting television. Riveting, I tell you. Let me see. I'll go off share again and see if I can get this. Maybe we're close. Mr. Batsinger's popped in. It's not my stream. It's not working here either. So we're having trouble just in general getting the stream, getting the NFHS working. Thank you for letting me know, Coach Bats. Appreciate it, sir. So. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, Ridge.
Scott, just tuning in here. We got a sideline report coming in. Looks like
yes,
LaSalle is jumping out to an early lead with strong blocks, having their way against Tiernan to start off.
Coach Porter, welcome to the ResV live stream, man. We're having trouble getting it on. We can't see what's going on, but so happy you're here, and thank you for the report. So LaSalle's blocking the ball well, which is their strength. That's what they do.
Exactly, and that's what their game strategy must have been coming in, and they're executing well out the jump. Timeout, 10-2 Chargers. They're about to get back into play and may get loud here. I may need to tune in on the next timeout.
All good, brother. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh, so it's 10-2 LaSalle. That's something to start out on.
Yeah. Oh, and a big kill by Travis Plant. Big kill. They needed that to spread the ball a little bit for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Travis is one of the guys I was talking about in the pre-game. Young man's coming a long way. And that was one of the reasons, the middles, Christensen and Plant coming along and really excelling as the year got old. One of the reasons they're in the mix and in the final. So awesome. Would love to see what's happening, but
I think I can try to get my video going if you want. I'm
No, no,
hearing.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no. Just sideline's perfect. Like what you're doing, Rich, is perfect. I'm really stoked.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So let me see if NFHS can. So we have a what is it, 10-3?
We got 12-3 right now. LaSalle serving. Jack Johnson's at the line.
Nice, nice. How's Ephraim playing?
Ephraim is playing phenomenally. He's gotten a lot of blocks so far. I'd say he might have like 2, 3 blocks already, and it's 12-4.
Oh, yeah. He's so physical. I mean, he's arguably the most physical guy in the league.
Hands down.
He's just, and that was sort of what my article talked about in the, the most recent one, which was, for all the marbles. If Ephraim's playing big, it's hard to go against LaSalle. It just is.
100%. He came out on fire. He's a ball of energy today, which is good to see from him because sometimes he can kind of just make these blocks and kind of walk away. But he's providing a lot of energy today on top of performance. Matty
Yeah.
Tiernan uncharacteristically missed his serve, but he just put in a good ball. It looks like they Charo came out first 2 points. It looked like they're gonna do what they've been doing on this run the whole time, and LaSalle put a quick end to that thought.
Well, I mean, one of the things that's been happening a lot to this Charahoe team, and quite frankly, I've seen it a lot throughout my career, is that set one, it can be rocky, especially if you're the team that is smaller. You're the team that doesn't have the better block per se. And then after set one, you get your act together, you make some quick adjustments, and you're able to break through. But if they go down 0-2, I think they're in trouble. I mean, they gotta win one of the first 2 sets to make it interesting.
I agree. It's 14-6. One thing that I've noticed, it looks like Charahoe sets have been a little inconsistent to start off the set, I would say. Not giving their hitters a lot of room to work on, really pinning them up to the net, and against that LaSalle block, it's real tough.
Oh, so perfectly said, Ridge. You got to have space, against that block. Ephraim's got his arms completely on the other side of the net. He blocks like a college but men's volleyball player. So if you're tight on the net, it's over. Like there's nowhere to go. It's trap set after trap set. So he's going to need Poplaski's a sophomore. I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of, he's the younger setter. Well, yeah, he's younger than Ali. Ali's junior. And he's one of the younger setters in the league. And here he is in the finals. It's a tough order. So he's going to settle down. And I didn't really talk about much about the nerves of a championship. I had an idea to try to get the professional volleyball player Garrett Buckland on to talk about that, as he's been, he's won a state championship for North Kingstown, and he's won a college championship for Riviera University. I thought, he'd be perfect talking about the nerves of jumping into a championship match. Fortunately, we couldn't make it work, and a lot of it to do with my travel plans. But it might take a set for that Charahoe side, especially the younger guys like Poplaski, to settle down and say, all right, we're in the groove and go play. And if you're LaSalle, the other thing you got to be wary of is if you thump them here in set one, expect set 2 to be crazy because it's never that easy. So
yeah, I agree completely. Experience is a huge thing, and I think that's just one more thing that kind of might give LaSalle an edge in this match, seeing as they made it all the way to the finals last year, and a lot of these kids are returning. So that experience on the big stage, it's something that you can't practice or teach, and that might bode well for LaSalle in this match today. It's 17-10 right now, LaSalle.
17-10. Yeah, the experience factor, they did it once before, although they had a different setter back then. So this is Ali's first taste of championship. They had a different libero as well. How's Ty Cotta doing? Ty's another younger guy. Like I think he's the only other sophomore on the floor, yeah?
Cody, the setter from Charahoe? No, we have a freshman on the floor, Ty Cotta, living for LaSalle.
Oh, he's a freshman. I thought he was a sophomore.
I could
Cool.
be wrong. Oh, that's correct. That's correct. He is a sophomore. My apologies.
Yeah, so Poplaski and Ty Cotta are the two sophomores on the floor, both in significant roles. I mean, you could argue that the libero role isn't as significant as the setter role, but both are pretty significant. We're still having trouble with the NFHS stream. I don't know if that's ever going to get sorted, but really, really stoked that you're on, Coach Porter. Really happy to have you and talk some volleyball with you.
Oh,
Oh,
definitely.
Bat says now it should be good. We can make it work.
Yeah,
Let's
that'd
see
be
if we can
awesome if you get it working. If not, I'll provide you a score update here as long as
Yeah,
you need.
man.
If
Man.
if my video or whatever cuts out, it's probably because my phone dies, but I got plenty of battery as of right now. 2011, Ephraim had a real strong block against Tiernan. It is Maddie has his work cut out for him, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've heard me talk about this, Rich, before. A lot of it's about, how difficult is the puzzle, right? And one of the things that's been interesting, besides the fact that Tiernan was a setter his entire career and now he's a pin, is that their puzzle isn't that hard to figure out. You know where the ball's going. Like so Matt has to be massively creative to try to figure out a way to score and find points. But yeah, one of the things we can talk about now, with the score being what it is, 20-11, you said?
22-11
Yeah, 22-11. I would pull my starters for
from
Charo and
Charo.
put in the backups. I mean, one of the things that I learned early on from Coach Samara was, you don't let your starters take a beating in any set if you can help it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're in a championship match or a playoff match and your starters are getting bombed away, like, pull them off the floor, put in your backups. Really, that's their role anyways, to get an opportunity when it happens and see what they can do. And then let your starters reset themselves. Like, I haven't really talked too much about, the bell curve of excellence, or whatever I've called it, where you have, when you're at the top of the bell curve, you're in perfect play form, and then if you're on one side, you're overwhelmed. If you're on the other, you're bored. If you're overwhelmed, deer in headlights, and get them out of there and let them breathe for a second, because if set one's gone, worry about set two.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've, as a player, had happen to me, where my coaches have pulled me off the court for a second, and not for your bench for the game, but hey, let's talk about our matchups. Let's refocus. Let's center yourself, take a breath, and then go back out there and execute what we might have been practicing all week, or execute whatever game changes we need to make right now. And I've always found it was super helpful. And another thing, it makes you, once you hit bench as a player, you want nothing more to get out there. And sometimes that just gives you, to leave the bench, get back on the court, and give 110%. So I agree completely. That would be a great move by Charo if they did that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like they're gonna. It's 24-14 and no substitutions have been made.
Yeah, and that's okay too. I mean, one of the things I like to stress is that there are many different ways to coach. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, I guess the wrong answer would be to not coach at all and just
100%.
Just roll out the ball and say, all right, kids, have fun. But there's different preferences and different ways to do it. But one of the things that I learned and tried to utilize, and the other thing too, is you have to make sure that your players understand that's something that can happen. You can't spring it on them if you haven't done it before in a championship match.
Yep.
I probably took me 2 years to be able to sort of say, all right, there's going to be times when this is going to happen, understand it, and then actually do it. Because I used to be one of those guys, Ridge, that really like to stick with the horses that brought me, I didn't like to go into the bench because I figured, look, we can work it out. You know, if you're on the floor and things aren't going well, you just keep working, you'll figure it out. But really, that moment of bringing a couple of guys off the bench, taking your starters out, like that can be huge for the next set, right? I've given up on sets that were like, 20-10. I was like, all right, well, we're not going to win this,
Yeah.
and we need to make sure that we gotta make sure that we're ready for the next set, and then just like what I used to do is I'd have my assistant Garrett coach what was on the floor, and then I would actually go to each particular player, sit and talk with them briefly, get them to breathe, get them to reset themselves, and give them 3 points to work on for when they go back in. But I think the number one thing that you brought up is perfect, is that players think when they come out of the game that it's like, it has to be negative. And sometimes it's not negative. It can be like, if you're not getting the job done, like you need to come off the floor. Like,
Yeah.
That's why we have people on the bench, right? Like Coach Giglio said it perfectly in our interview. We have people on the bench for a reason. If we can't get
100%.
the results that we need, we got to make a change. And then get hungry for your next opportunity. But oftentimes in a situation that we're talking about, it has nothing to do with negativity or you're not doing the job. It's about, we need to reset you, we need to talk for a second, and that has to be, player to coach, has to be a trust that's earned. And so I'm guessing set one to LaSalle.
Set one went to LaSalle 25-15, and what I would say is Matty Tiernan continues to just do what he's done all year. At the end of that set, the Charajo remains on the side that they lost on. He calls the team in, and it just looks like he's doing leadership stuff over there, and it doesn't look like they're going to give up. If I had anything to say about Charo, I think a lot of their success came from when they did try to work in the middle and not solely set Matty over and over and over again, because Travis can hold his own in that middle position, and he provided some offense from somewhere other than the outside pin. But kudos to Matty on the season that he's done, like stat wise and leadership wise. A phenomenal job. You can just see it from the stands.
Yeah, Tiernan, look, man, Tiernan's played more volleyball than anyone on the floor over there. Like he's had more reps, he's had more touches, he's seen more games. Like he's really done a lot of volleyball. So he knows what needs to happen. And I love that he's trying to do the leadership role, and rightfully so. He should with that team. He's the most knowledgeable guy on that team, certainly. So that's what he's got to do. He's got to get them to believe that they can do it. Now, set two is going to be crucial. Like they just got to have it. I would not want to go down 0-2 to LaSalle.
No.
In the championship, because one of the things that LaSalle does almost as good as anybody else is that they're great front runners. If they got two in the bank, they're going to figure out the way to finish.
Yeah, I mean, this LaSalle front row is just terrifying to look at. I'm looking at Ali, Big E, and Jack Johnson, and I'm just trying to figure out a way. And it's tough. And they go right to Travis for the first one, and he gets roofed. They follow up with the set to Matty Tiernan, and he puts it away. 1-1.
Yeah, I think Tiernan's going to have to start painting lines, more often than not, the block is set in. And again, I can't get the live stream to work. We just probably don't have enough bandwidth here at the home that I'm staying in Spokane, Washington, for it to be, the epicenter of ResV and have two things going. And, but he's going to have to paint lines a little bit. And, if they go with Travis or Christensen in the middle, like it's going to have to be not so much about scoring. I mean, if you see daylight banging home, but it's going to be about making LaSalle go out of system. And if they go out of system, then we can get the ball back and maybe, be in system and run and get what we want. But it's going to be interesting to see. But this set two, Gotta have it. There's just no way around it. Gotta have
Yeah,
it.
you gotta pull it out here. I agree 100%. And LaSalle's just starting to pull off in the beginning. It's still early, 3-1. Jack Johnson serving a nice jump serve from the line. But I agree completely. I think any success for Charaho is going to be predicated around trying to get LaSalle's system out of system and then moving from there. But Charaho's not giving up. They're trying to stay scrappy, but LaSalle just keeps finding ways to score. They just seem to,
How is
have more attacking.
yeah? How is Nick Lisi playing?
Nick Lisi is playing solid, sound ball. I remember a really good point from him in the first set was free ball comes to him and he just sends a nice leveled out set to the one spot and just paints the corner. Just that type of, and he's like using the block well, his serve strong. So just Nick Lisi doing Nick Lisi things.
Yeah, he's a real good player.
He
Jack
is.
Johnson's having I mean, it sounds like nothing's going wrong for LaSalle here in set 1 and 2.
Not much. They're every now and then they'll find themselves out of system, and that's probably when it looks most like suspect. But other than that, when they're in system, they haven't really been slowed down.
Who is the serving targets for each team? Like if I'm Chero, who are they serving? Are they going after Jack? Are they going
They're going after Jack and Ty. Yeah, it looks like they're avoiding Nick Lisi, which I would agree with is the smart thing to do. Ty is the younger player, maybe the better passer between him and Jack, and then Jack sometimes, especially if he's got to play front row, make a pass and then have to hit too. Seeing as if Jack has a weakness in his game, I'd say it would be his pass.
Agreed. Yeah. And the other thing too is you can serve Jack short, take away his approach. That would be another idea. And I would do everything I could. I mean, one of the things that we did for club this year is we served a lot of stacks and groupings to try to hold the middle and if you could take Ephraim out of the attacking zone, that would be preferable as well. Who is LaSalle pointing at or going after? I would stay away from Matt.
I definitely stay away from Matt, and as in Zaro, I have a trouble with
Azanaro, yeah.
Azanaro, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, my target would be number 11. So I'm watching LaSalle, and a lot of their serves are jump top spins, so it doesn't look like those are specifically being aimed anywhere. And then other servers like right now, as Inaro is pushed all the way to the left, they're almost running like a 2-man serve receive with him and Matty Tiernan to try to hide number 11. They're still running 3 even, but it's like number 11's on the sideline and Azanaro's right next to him.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're trying to. I mean, number 11. What's that young man's name?
I believe it's Brandon Knowles. Brandon Knowles.
That's right, Knowles. Correct. Yeah, is Knowles a junior?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Knowles. He's had a good year. I mean, Knowles has had a solid year. And I think certainly the level that he's grown into has been significant. But if you haven't seen a lot of jump topspin serves and now you're in the championship game and they're all pointed at you, it gets to be a little dicey.
Again, 100%.
Yeah,
I think that he's done a solid job in the front row for sure. Like he's gotten his job role done for that team in the front row, and it's tough to be a really strong all the way around player. And I think the same thing goes to say like that his weakness would probably be his passing in the back row, number 11. But he's young; he's a junior. He's got another year, so.
Yeah, but in that situation, that might be, especially if you go to, you don't want to go down 0-2, but if you do. And that seems to be part of the problem. I know they've had 3 liberos on that Charaho team. Take one of them and make him the DS and play that kid's back row. You're not going to set him out of the back row anyway. Make him like a defensive sub. And your job, that's one of those things as a coach where you just grab them and say, listen, your job is going to be to pass this jump top spin. It's your only role. So
Yeah.
go do it, and maybe you get something more out of it.
Yeah, I agree completely. And Charaho's hanging around here in the second set, 10-7, but it just seems like
A little bit
LaSalle
better.
is in control. And at the same time, every time Charaho has a chance to really jump on them, they're kind of making their own errors. For example, right here, they had 10 to, oh, I'm sorry, they had a 9-7 score and they step up and hit a deep serve out of bounds. So it's like, can't really be
Oh,
giving LaSalle those points back. And now it's
yeah.
11-7.
Well, what you just brought up, Coach, is one of the wonderful. What am I trying to say here? One of the wonderful issues with serving in the men's game and the boys' game, which is you have to serve tough enough, or else they're going to run hitting lines. But the
Yes,
tougher you try to serve, the more errors that are going to come.
true.
And so like what you have to find that happy medium. You have to walk that tightrope of, all right, we're serving tough enough where if we can get them out of system, that's the goal. If we can get an ace, that's icing on the cake. And a lot of people think that serving is about getting aces. It really isn't. I mean, if we get an ace, hallelujah, it's great.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
but really it's about getting the other team out of system so we can get a free ball
100%.
or a roll shot or a tip that allows us to run offense counter. So in this scenario, like it's okay to miss serves. They have to be good misses, and it has to be off a tough serving run. What you don't want to do is get a big dig, big swing, a lot of momentum, and then serve the ball into the net or out of bounds. I mean, again, it's the type of serve, and we don't have visuals over here in Washington. I'm so glad that you called in, Rich, because it was like, dude,
Yeah.
we can't get the game, and I don't know what's happening.
All right,
Um,
so here we go. Let me break in here because a lot just happened.
right.
It's now a tie game, 11-11, Charo, and it's fueled on Maddie Tiernan. I mean,
Mhm.
so what all goes wrong there is they serve the ball. Maddie Tiernan finds he paints the one corner, just paints it. Absolutely beautiful attack, and it wasn't a slam, but he just found the spot, doing what he's been doing all year round, and that
Yeah,
fuels a little run. All of a sudden, Azanaro's on the service line, getting them out of system, basically doing what you were just discussing, causing LaSalle to have trouble hitting. Jack goes and makes a hitting error, they start to converse with the coaching, some words start to go around. All of a sudden, there's some uneasiness, and then LaSalle, interestingly enough, sets number 14, who I haven't seen too much of, on the right side, and he hits right into the net, and it's 11-11, and Azanaro up to serve after a timeout by LaSalle.
Wow. Yeah. The right size are the vulnerabilities for both teams. I was talking about that before you jumped on. I don't know either kid. Like they're not guys that I've seen a lot of. But yeah, the momentum can swing really fast, can it? Jeez.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It feels like the momentum is turning into an this is why Charo's here type energy in the gym right now as it's tied 12-12 after a
Yeah.
Pulaski setter dump.
Well, as they're doing their thing, the other thing that sort of is jumping out at me is that isn't this the exact situation that sort of happened with yesterday's D2 final? Like West came out and thumped them or beat them pretty handily in set one, and then Lincoln just roared into the match and won the next three.
Yeah, and it was all kind of based off a similar kind of storyline of how did Lincoln get here? Well, they put the pieces together and gave the ball to the big man up top and let him win his matchup. And that really set precedence for Lincoln to take that game because there was no answer that West had for that Lincoln middle.
Really, Dickinson had the match. I was thinking McNamara might have been, getting hot
McNamara
too.
did work. He did work for sure. McNamara handled his own, but the mismatch was just, it wasn't even that Lincoln's big middle, Tyler Dickinson, was slamming the ball down or anything. He was just getting the ball high and finding a spot in the 10-foot line, almost off a tip every time, just putting the ball where space was.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only middle in the D2 world that also could cause Harvey some trouble.
Yeah.
Like Harvey had to worry about him. But congrats to Lincoln. Certainly made me look good. Like I had I had Lincoln going all the way, and Coach Ben Lind and I think you were on board a little bit. I don't think you were
Yeah,
doubting him, but
I liked Lincoln. I will
but
admit I'm an alma mater of Cranston West, so that might have come into play. I'm a human as well, so I had to root for those guys over there. But I felt uneasy going into that match, and I would be lying if I say that I didn't, especially as I walked into the gym having not watched too much D2 stuff and seeing
Hmm.
the sheer height of Lincoln. I mean, they remind me of a LaSalle version of D2. They're just huge. They've got a bunch of
Yeah.
height.
Yeah, I mean Dickinson's 6'10", and the thing is that when I saw them play, like after they lost 5 in a row at the beginning of the year, I got to see them play. Who was it? They played. Oh, it might have been Westerly, and I saw that was the first time I saw Wayne McNamara, and I was like, dude, that kid's a hammer. Like that kid's pretty good. I was like, why? How is this team losing 5 matches in a row with a kid like that? And then certainly
Yeah.
Tyler's Tyler. He's big. Tyler's going to Riviera U, and he's going to become pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
but I'm watching this team and going, what is going on here? And then I got to see him again if they went on their first 4 match swing that they won, and I was like, oh boy, I don't. If I'm anyone in the D2 world, I do not want to play these guys. And of course, they stormed back. They went from out of the playoffs to fourth. Like that's the run they went on. Like out of the playoffs, not even in a thought, and then they go on this gigantic run, winning like 9 of 10, and then 10 out of 11. And then next thing you know, they're fourth, overpassing East Providence and Central. And then I was thinking, if I'm Barrington, what did I had this huge win against Cranston West to get the number 1 seed, and what's my reward? I got to play Lincoln. It was like, holy smokes. And then so if you think about the run Lincoln went on, they beat the number 1 seed, they beat the number 2 seed to win the whole thing. Yeah, pretty cool run. And
Yeah, and credit to Coach Sweeney. I've basically been living in Rhode Island College gym for the past 2 days. I've just been hanging out here. Have had a lot of good conversations with officials, coaches, and the word on the street across the board was we saw this Lincoln team early and they looked nothing like what they look like now. And a lot of the times that's a good sign of a good program and a good coach. So credit to Coach Sweeney.
sure, absolutely. So you're hanging around Rhode Island College, talking to people. You're pumping ResV, right?
Oh, they know. They see me and they're like, "Oh, you're one of the ResV guys, right?" No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
we
kidding.
got
But yeah,
We're gonna get all you guys that hang out and help me with everything. We're gonna give you ResV jackets so you can go
yeah,
wherever.
100% like official Lettermans or something.
I graduated from ResV,
ResV
and
University.
that's what needs to happen next. The ResVU.
Oh my
Uh,
God, Matty Tiernan just lit up Ali, sent him to the ground with a body shot, and then Ephraim tried to lift the ball up with a double carry, triple touch ball that gets called, obviously, and it's 18-18, Charaho hanging around. As Lenaro
wow.
digs up Jack Johnson, I mean, Charaho is not giving up. They're not going anywhere. And
Well,
they just have
that
to pull down this stretch. They got to win down this stretch. Home
that's the
stretch.
danger of
Yeah.
thumping a team early in a playoff match is that you take your foot off the gas a little bit and you let the team hang in there. And Tiernan's going to get his still. I don't think he's going to get slowed down enough where it's going to be a cakewalk for him. I'm talking LaSalle here. And
Yeah.
then Azanaro can play, man. Azanaro, I was really bummed that he wasn't going to be around for the ResV All-Star game, but he's
Yeah,
good.
for
He's
sure.
real good. So great to hear that Charaho's fighting in and staying in there. And they do, again, I really don't think they want to go down 0-2. I don't think that's going to help them be it just might be too big a mountain to climb if they go down 0-2. But if they pull out this set 2, provide some doubt. One of the things that LaSalle has always been fighting with this year is staying level. Like they go high, they go low. Like when things are going great, that's why I said great front runner team. When things are going great, they're playing monstrous, and you can't beat them. But when things go south, when things start to get hard, oftentimes they go too low and they make too many errors. So we'll see what happens.
Talk about errors. 2019 Charaho, another missed serve. And the unfortunate part of it is the first serve was a jump topspin. Then they changed to the float and they missed the float. It almost feels like just keep your foot on the gas if you're Charaho. You have LaSalle double clutching and double guessing, and don't take your foot off the gas because you've got to win this set here. 21-20 with Jack Johnson at the line. LaSalle's up 1. And Jack Johnson misses a serve. Wow. Lots of missed serves here. 21-21. Jack Johnson, second missed serve of the set.
Yeah, one of the things that happened to the Rams last year when they were playing North Kingstown, and that was the Andrade year when Mason Andrade was the left side for North Kingstown, is that as things got tight and errors started happening, LaSalle changed their strategy. Instead of jump top spins, it was floats. Instead of hitting the ball, it was tips and rolls. And you can't do that. Like tips and rolls are what, quite frankly, in my volleyball system, are what I'm looking for. If you're going to tip and roll, you've just given me exactly what I want. And that's what, ended up happening to LaSalle last year. Like they had NK on the ropes many times, in my opinion. And in the end, they started tipping and rolling because things got uncomfortable, and that allowed counterattacks. And Andrade scored some pretty big moments because of a tip and roll when they should just hit the ball hard. Like we're playing boys volleyball, men's volleyball. Hit the ball hard. Good things happen.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not looking too good here for Charaho. All of a sudden, what happened, unfortunately, was timeout Charaho. So you got a Ridge timeout report here. What unfortunately happened was it was about 20-21, something about around that score. And Maddie Tiernan, unfortunately, rotates into the back row. Maddie Tiernan serving. And, you can put the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together there. But Maddie Tiernan, he's got a great pipe attack. But it still seems like that puzzle conversation. We all know where that ball's going. And so did LaSalle as they triple block that pipe attack, put it down, and then LaSalle, the next point, answers with their own pipe attack from Jack Johnson, who scores on that 24-21. Yeah. Yep.
I will say this year alone has been the most I've seen back row attacks from teams in the boys division. Like, it's always been sort of, certainly in the college world, it happens all the time. We run that BIC, coming out. And this year, like LaSalle ran it a lot. Charaho ran it a lot. Saw it from you guys at East Greenwich, saw it from, Mount St. Charles. Like everyone's running that back row attack. In the old days, the back row attack, we called it a pipe ball back then, because no one ran fast BICs anymore, and really no one's running a fast BIC here either. But so the pipe ball, the back row is more of a desperation. Things are out of the system, and you just chuck it to the guy in the back row. But there's been more concentrated effort this year in the boys game, I think, to actually run it as an offensive attack. Like this is part of our attack. This is what we do. And certainly in Charaho's case, it's because, the horse takes 70% of the swings. So
I think more than that, to be honest.
Yeah. So, but that is worth noting. Everyone's running that what we won't call it a BIC because it's not very fast, but we'll call it a pipe attack, planned strategy pipe attack. So,
so set 2 wrapped up, unfortunately. Well, I'm not really, I'm impartial to this, but I will be honest. I'm rooting a little bit for Matty Tiernan. It's just a great story, and watching him do what he did all year. And I'm a sucker for an underdog. But the second set went to the Rams 25-21. So Charaho is not in the best position here as we start to see Tolman Shea players roll in. The legend Dom. He's had a great job. He's done a great job setting. Yeah, he's done a great job this year. And Johnson kids start to roll in here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Are you staying for that match, Rich?
Yeah, I plan on staying.
Yeah, I would. I mean, one of the things I would love to know is I did not this year get to see the pins for Tolman play. Dembo, was it Conte? I mean,
yes,
I've heard good things, but I haven't seen him play.
So
and
the
I'd
story
love to know.
behind they've got a funny story in Tolman over there is that it's one that a lot of programs battle is this junior year, senior year player because of certain circumstances, whether they were a baseball guy and then they don't end up making varsity, or they're this, or they're a that, or they just didn't find out until junior year. And you always get those kids that are phenomenal and they learn a whole new sport in 1 year, and coaches can't help but to think, I wonder what would have happened if I had them for 4 years. And for those two Tolman guys, the story for them is they're very, very talented soccer players, and soccer is really big in Pawtucket for Tolman. They've got a really good squad over there. So the talk about them is that you know, they didn't want to get hurt playing another sport potentially. That's more lore than fact. But that's what I've heard from people that know that program pretty well.
Well,
but they picked it up in 1 year quickly, and I hear they're doing a good job. So
yeah, I mean, apparently Dembo's having a great year. Like he's been, you know, I've written about him a couple of times in some of the ResV write-ups, and you know, we all love Dom because we know him, and he's come a long way since we first met him, and he's actually doing a real nice job over there. And Tolman's a nice story. We know the coach over there, Coach Bevilacqua's done a real nice job. So you know, Tolman guys, fun guys to know, and they do a nice have a nice way about them. Whoa! Yeah, I think I actually just got the live stream to work.
Oh, that's really funny. Can you see me in the stands? That'd be awesome if you get the visual yourself. It looks like the Springfield coach is in the building, actually. We've got another couple of coaches here.